Yes, Mzansi, I'm out here with the boys. Yeah, these are my new two favorite people in town, and you're going to find out exactly why. Because, of course, with it being Heritage Month, it's time to celebrate our heritage, and we're going to do it the South African way. So, you got the squad coming over. Well, these easy make-ahead braai sides mean less time in the kitchen and more time with the crew. And check out how cool my crew is, right? So this no-wilt salad is going to stand the test of time. And we've got a cold-roasted potatoes that need almost zero supervision. And alongside Clem this morning, we have a special guest, Anda Dlepu. He's all the way from Woolies. He's going to be talking to us about one of our favorites, boerewors, and some of the regulations behind it. And not only is he talking about it, the man's actually a chef. He's a powerhouse. So we are absolutely blessed in the kitchen here. I feel like I don't need to do much, but I want to get involved in the braai because it's all about Yes. And firstly, welcome, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Yourself?
I'm exceptionally good. I was come from the beach. It's feeling like Heritage Month has kicked off perfectly.
Absolutely.
And things are smelling good here, and we haven't even done anything yet. But I want to ask you, man, what is your role here when it comes to boerewors?
What's your role?
You have so many hats that you wear. You say you're a chef. You're a specialist with meat, and I know from Mzansi, it's important to note that all that good quality meat and the taste that's coming through and all those occasions, it's actually thanks to this guy. It's a big part to play in it. But I want to focus on the boerewors specifically. I see we got boerewors here, and I'm gonna start getting my braai on while we talk to you about this. I think that's how we do it. You know, it's all about the gesals and the gears. But why is it important to kind of define boerewors itself and I mean, the flavors that go into it, essentially.
Look, great question. As you said, look, I mean, it's Heritage Month. I think, look, we've, as you say, it is part of our heritage. Boerewors is South African. I think, you know, with the market growing so wide as it is growing, I think it's just very important for government to actually start setting a standard for everyone that is making boerewors. We do have people that are making boerewors which isn't actually boerewors, you know, if we look at what the law is.
Okay.
And obviously there's price implications for what boerewors is. You know, boerewors has got to be 90% meat. So your block has got to be a 90% meat block. Nothing less than 90%. Once it's less than 90%, it's no longer boerewors.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's got quite a huge meat component in there.
Yes.
Over and above that as well, from a fat, the fat has got to have a max of 30% fat. Obviously, the fat is obviously, it's adding value to there. It's obviously to add flavor and also to keep the product moist as well.
And all the good stuff that we want.
So I think the two important things there are the meat component, which has got to be 90%, and then the fat component, which has got to be 30%. Over and above the meat component, we've got the additive ingredients as well, which go into boerewors. So boerewors, as I said, it's the meat, it's the fat, and then you've got the additive. So you can add vinegar, you can add water to it, you can add spices, you can add, which is a batch pack, and and you can add salt as well. It's got to have a starch as well, starch, which is obviously to bind the meat and the fat together. Otherwise, nothing else. That is boerewors, you know. So it's meat, fat, and a few additives in there. That is boerewors.
I never actually knew that, man. And I'm somewhat of a specialist when it comes to boerewors myself, because I do find that there are differences when you get that texture. You want your boerewors to kind of like, you know, almost like burst open when you chow into it. And I think the fat and that ratio definitely has a lot to play in that.
Absolutely,
What you mentioned meat, right? And you mentioned 90% of it needs to be meat.
Yes.
What sort of meat do you actually use in boerewors?
So with the new regulations now, which government have sort of gone ahead with, the meat that you use in there, it's got to be domesticated meat. So it's got to be your cattle. It's got to be whether it's beef, sheep, pork. So your bovine species and all of those. But things like game meat, unfortunately, if we're looking at stuff like kudu or ostrich, we can't actually make boerewors with that. So it's got to be domesticated animals. As I said, so your cattle, your sheep, your beef, pork. So it's got to be domesticated animals. Things like kudu, when we start looking at wild game, those can form in that. Those can sit in the other categories, being sausages, or again sizzlers or whatever. But
hey, man, this is beautiful stuff. I'm learning a lot here. And look, I'm getting distracted because we're actually supposed to be cooking in the kitchen. So before we carry on talking, I gotta just say, Mzansi, if there was one element I wish they had on TV, that was if we could just convey smell. Because oh man, this is smelling absolutely delicious. I'm gonna chat to you some more about this, but I know Clem's got something going on over there. I'm using again. This is the Woolies Braai
tabletop braai.
Tabletop braai. I love it. It's so convenient.
The one that I've got at home has been working overtime because I mean you pop a little bit of charcoal in there, get it going, and you're cooking in like 20 minutes, not even.
Yeah, not
So we've
even.
been loving the flavor and using ours at home. That looks amazing, Ralph.
Look at that.
I'm gonna make a very quick side for you. So I've got some
Okay.
potatoes and I pop them in the microwave just to get them soft. When I get them nice and soft, a little bit of olive oil goes on.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna use rosemary. Get the rosemary in there,
Yes, please.
which is quite like beefy in its by itself. As a herb, it's got like a nice savory, like meaty
Talking about
flavor.
rosemary?
Rosemary.
I don't hardly ever make meat without rosemary. It's
Yeah.
such an authentic ingredient. I mean, if you can't purchase it in the store, I mean, just growing it yourself is such a convenient way
We
to
actually have a bush growing outside the studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that where this is from?
I'll show you it. No, it's from Willie's. But I'll show you. I'll show you where to get it. I'll show you where to get it. Okay. Braai seasoning, no salt. Got the braai seasoning on there.
Yeah.
Get that on the potatoes. Then I'm gonna pop it in some foil, and that's gonna go on the braai. Get nice and smoky, and get like a little bit of that charry flavor on the outside.
Oh, yes,
You
please.
want that? Okay. Here's where I love sour cream. Sour cream. I just feel like the cooling, like creaminess of sour cream, but that slight little twang
Yeah.
with the boerewors is already just like So on the potatoes, we're gonna go
Okay.
with the sour cream.
Pop
And
that
be
in
be
there.
generous. Also hit it when the potatoes are still hot.
And
Get
then
that
it just
sour
kind of
cream just
absorbs
like
into it. Yeah.
get that on there.
Listen, you're talking about taste, and I'm seeing the phenomenal taste in this. I want to ask you, while I have you under, something that you probably also specialize in is ensuring that quality and consistency comes through when we're talking about flavor. How exactly are you ensuring that? Because I mean, whenever I go to any Woolies in the country, whenever I'm working in Joburg, in Kimberley, in KZN, it doesn't matter where, I can ensure that I'm getting that same consistency.
Yes.
How are you making that happen, man? That's not easy.
I mean, as you say, I mean, it's quality is quite important to us. Consistency, a huge part of our job. So let's speak specifically about the boerewors. We've got one recipe for this boerewors. It's a tried and tested recipe on our side. It's been handed over to the guys who've been at Woolies years before I've been there. So the suppliers who are doing this for us are working towards one recipe, which, as I say, it's been handed down for years. We do various quality checks along the process to ensure that product is eating and meeting to spec. So we don't just make the product and hope that at the end it delivers to what it's supposed to be.
you ensure that
Across the whole
before, yeah.
process, there are these various quality control checks that we've got in place.
Oh, beautiful.
Before it gets to you as the
Beautiful.
consumer.
Looking
So-
out for the people
Yeah.
of Mzansi. I love that. Clem, how are we doing on that side?
I'm gonna talk you through the next recipe
Yeah,
because
we
I
don't
want
have lots of
to
time,
give
so
you some
make it quick,
boerewors.
make it
Okay,
fast,
so
yeah.
char some
I do
tomatoes
anything?
in a pan.
Now,
Hit it
you
with
just
some
enjoy, man.
hit it with some charred peppers. Some red onions as purple onions, bit of the dressing on there, give it all a good mix, and then toast your baguette to make like a beautiful tomato and bread salad. That's amazing with your baked potato,
Yum.
with your roast potatoes. Quick tip on the boerewors. Check this out. What I do is I put my boerewors in a braai grid and I hang it somewhere outside. Let the air blow through it and dry the skin on the
dry.
outside.
Yeah.
Air dry your boerewors when you cook it. That snap. Boom.
Oh,
that
wow.
snap. And turn your boerewors over as much as you have to.
Okay,
Honestly,
all right,
keep
all
the
right.
juices going.
All
No,
right,
not
all right.
you, not now.
Okay, I was just thought, okay, yes, chef,
Don't treat
yes,
it like
chef,
a
listen.
steak. Yeah.
At home, keep those juices flowing, keep it going.
All right.
Keep the juices flowing, keep it
Guys,
going.
listen,
yes.
if you want to get this recipe, sorry, there's so much happening here. I'm getting so excited. I forgot that we're actually working in the kitchen. But for you, Mzansi, you can definitely get this recipe at woolworths.co.za. It is all the inspiration you need for Heritage Day. The consistency, the flavors, the ease of use. We got you. Anga's got you. Chef Glen's got you. Expresso's got you. And here's to Heritage Month and celebrating boerewors the authentic way.
Yes.
Well played, brother. Cheers, man. That stuff, guys.